Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Benjamin, and for those of you who know me, I'm the Buffett investor. And so in today's channel and video, actually I thought of covering this question that actually some of people have been asking me is that, hey Benjamin, how do I know when do I need to sell, or things like that, or when do I need to invest my money? And because we are holding on to the stock, and sometimes when I see that the price is rising so high, or the P ratio and things like that, I'm not sure whether should I sell. And I thought that it would be good that in this video I'd like to cover some of the personal guidelines that I use myself, that is also inspired by Warren Buffett, on how do I determine on whether should you hold on to the stock or sell it and things like that. So of course, when we are buying a stock, as we have shared many a times, is always we're buying to a business, right? And we're always looking at in terms of like the earnings, and of course in terms of the revenue, their growth numbers, right? We always look into the financial ratios and things like that. But today I won't be covering so much into the ratios, but fundamentally, as long as the fundamentals or the criteria that when we first bought the stock hasn't changed. For example, like I'm using Apple. When I bought into Apple, I look at all the fundamentals. This company was actually delivering double-digit growth in terms of like the EPS, earnings per share, or even like in terms of the revenue growth, profit margins, and things like that, right? Their return on equities was very strong, also double-digit, and things like that. And looking at the whole business, are they still maintaining their core, competitive advantage? Do they still have a very strong branding? And if all of these questions still remain, intact, all these criteria, the company is still continuing on, delivering all of this, promises in terms of what they can deliver for the business, then actually fundamentally there's no reason for me to sell the stock. Even if the market were to crash and go down, it's actually generally affecting all other companies as well, and that doesn't mean that I should sell the company straight away, based on hearsay or fear in the market, right? So of course this is from a very qualitative aspect. Going on to the quantitative aspect, that we're using some numbers to help and guide, is that usually I'll also look at like the P ratios and things like that, right? So to give a, usually based on also Warren Buffett also mentioned, is that if the P ratio, unless if it's really going up to, and this is only applying just for value stocks, okay? Again, I want to stress is that because I know sometimes when it comes to like, growth stocks, sometimes the P ratio can go up to very high, 40, 50, but that's a separate topic that we will touch on later on, in a separate video. But for value stocks alone, usually if it doesn't hit 40, P ratio 40 and above, right, I think it's still quite okay. So to give you an example, like when I bought into Apple also, so I remember back then I bought it below below 100, right? Was fortunate because we go in at the right price, and eventually I think it went up to about 150, I think, around there. And then that's where I think, the market started having a lot of doubts, and people say, hey, wow, the stock has really risen up to 150 already, and the P ratio is about 16, right? So do we want to sell, things like that. But then back then I went to go and evaluate the fundamentals, and then the truth is nothing has changed, and the company is still making money, a lot of cash, and high growth rates as well, right? And also at the same time, in terms of and then after that, while holding on, fast forward into today, I last checked, I think Apple has already crossed $225. And can you imagine that if back then at 150, if I were to sell it today, I have already lost away almost another additional potential upside of 50% gains on Apple stock. So you can imagine. And as we speak right now, in fact, I still continue to hold on to Apple, and I have already gained this over 50% returns in terms of the stock on Apple, right? So just to share with everyone, these are some of the things we can look at, right? Always looking back at the P ratio. This is one way you can use it to help you guide also in terms of whether should you sell. And of course, going back to the fundamental questions, always when you're in doubt or when you're thinking to sell, go back to the main reasons and criteria of why you bought the stock in the first place. And of course, if the company still hold on and is being able to deliver on all the criteria, then you should actually hold on to the stock. So I hope in today's video you have found this valuable, and being able to understand some of the criteria that I personally use also when I want to hold on to the stock or to sell it, right? So stay on to the next video, and I'll see you soon.